Welcome to Entrepreneurish, where we dive into the struggles and successes around starting a business.
Thank you guys for gathering here. We're actually going to highlight a topic today called content creation, something that I personally struggle with all the time. And the reason why I struggle is because in my industry, there's some regulation that I have to deal with. I don't know how it is with your guys' industries, but I got different things that I got to struggle with. And for that reason, I struggle with the thinking that how important is content to me? And so I just kind of want to pose that out there, like how important is content to you guys?
It's a good question. I would say, I think it definitely depends case by case, really, right? So for a person like me, who I guess you can classify me as like a social influencer, content creation for me is like, you know, it's a wide range, right? There's not like a lot of regulation in my industry, right? I'm in the fitness space. I do a lot of funny, like humor stuff. So like, you know, the areas I can go in and the amount of content I can produce is kind of like as much as I can, as long as it's good, right? Yeah. So I think it kind of just depends like where you are really.
Yeah, I think for me, it becomes a creative outlet. I often think back to when I was a kid, and some of the most fun times I had as a kid was like doing jackass videos with my friends.
Yeah.
You know, you do some stupid, like anytime there was like a project in class, I'd always be the one to be like, hey, I want to make a video. And for me, as I grew up, I didn't understand that there could be an application, like a real world application to like business. And now that the internet's become so prevalent, it's become a way to kind of tap into some of that creative juice, you know, that's inside me. And then also, you know, I travel a lot. So it's a great way for me to connect with other people. Among them, we can create content together, right? And there's a connection and a bond there when you meet up with someone and the conversation's facilitated by that project that you want to do together.
So why LinkedIn?
LinkedIn is great because it's a mix between this professional world and like the Facebook world of what it used to be. And they really want to be Facebook now.
Yeah, they do.
They want to be a social network. They don't want to be a stuffy business card type of.
You can tell by their updates too.
Yeah.
The way they're like updating the platform to be like more like liking and being social friendly.
So, you know, videos that for me on maybe YouTube or some of these other platforms, I'd have to either advertise or like have a big distribution.
Back in the like 2000s, it was if you have a website, you're relevant, right? If you have a website, that means you're legit. I should buy something from them. I feel safe getting something from them, right? Now when I see a website, I don't trust it because I know anybody can make a website, right? Yeah, and now when I see someone have an Instagram and I see their followers or I see if they're verified or if I see, you know, they got some content going on, I actually trust that business more.
I think engagement is the key word too. It's like what like the authenticity of like your comments and the actual engagements that you're getting. It's like it's easy for a brand. So I can tell pretty easily. So, you know, it's like whether it's fake or not.
Attention. Yeah. You believe the quality of the content makes a difference. I mean, I'm specifically interested really because you shoot this stuff for people, influencers all the time, right? And like you guys, I've seen you just have like increase your quality. Same with you. Both of your guys' qualities have just gone up tremendously, right? And so like I'm wondering, like, do you think quality of the image makes a big difference for people starting off of this?
It literally is a form of credentials. You know, you're not almost valid as a business, as a company, until you show what kind of quality output. Like look at Airbnb. When they first started, they basically were taking cell phone photos out there and their engagement was hella low, and at that point nobody wanted to go with them because they weren't sure what they were going to get for their money. Then they started hiring professional photographers to go in and yeah, exactly. And then at that point their engagement skyrocketed. Everything went through the roof. So it's so damn important to set yourself above everyone else in the business by coming out with quality content that actually identifies with an audience that you're going for.
All these businesses that are just like posting pictures of like purses and posting pictures of like just the product, they're realizing that it's so helpful to kind of like synchronize their brand with an influencer or have like a go-to person that kind of represents their brand, because it makes your content more relatable when they can see a person, like a human that's behind it.
You know, you can throw your money away all day long at influencers, but the fact of the matter is if you're not focusing on the exact audience that you're looking for, you're not doing it right.
Here's the thing, right? When you guys talk about your guys' product, especially what you guys do, it's very B2C focused, right? It's very business to consumer, right? What he does is very business to business.
There's kind of the two methodologies. There's push and there's pull. So throughout your life, you're either pushing your stuff out to other people or you're pulling them towards you. And I'd argue that you two have pulled so many people towards you. And those are like your people, right? So then they come to you now and it's like a funnel almost, right, where those people are approaching you. And I think the same thing's true with any industry, and now content is relevant in any industry.
That's interesting. And I mean, I've seen that a lot with what you're doing with LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn has become the B2B platform where you are now becoming an influencer from B2B, right?
Right.
Most of the guys I see on there are selling
B2B, yeah.
a B2B, right?
What do you guys feel about like the relationships you make or the relationships you make through the content you're creating?
The digital world has allowed relationships to be completely omnipresent. My relationships live in my text messages, they live in my DMs on Instagram, they live in Facebook. Your relationships are still just relationships, down to the core of it. We're all humans, we all want connection. And what's been interesting is that things have been digitized to the point that like companies are now digital, relationships are digital.
I would say the fact that you're connecting with that person, or just the fact that you can message them and having that outlet that they can reach out to you, is personal in itself. And like, oh wow, a real person just responded to me.
You still should treat people the same way, and we're all in the same element, because at the end of the day, we all have the same needs. And that's the human connection and element. The social media and the internet is just a different facilitation of that. Whereas maybe 50 years ago, it was going to, the park above the high school, like at this time. Like that was your playground. And now it's like scalable. Authenticity is available at scale. It's not mutually exclusive. Because I talk to you, and I also talk to Rohan at the same time via text, doesn't make my connection with you any less authentic. Yeah. And I think when people understand that you have to embrace the tools that are available to you to understand how relationships can work for you. Your relationships solve every problem in the world. Like your ties to other people, because we need that connection. So just understanding that the way that things are digital now, that's just how things go. And if you don't change and adapt with that, you're going to be left behind. And that's what businesses are finding out. So people are finding out of different generations. It's kind of a necessary evil in some ways.
So yeah, like I think social media is one of two things. One is I think it kind of replaces agencies in a lot of ways, because content's out there and because we can just look up, whatever business you need like so instantaneously. You don't need to source that through agency anymore, right? Because like a lot of businesses are starting to put their content out there in a way to where you kind of skip that step.
Absolutely. People like you and I are basically our own agencies, whereas I've worked with agencies and there's so much like back and forth, and it's like something that something that could have been transactional, like if they only contacted me, versus working with an agency, it's like takes like a month or two.
Right. I love what you've done in the sense that
you got to differentiate yourself.
You don't just have fitness.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about these superheroes that you have on the content, and that unique approach that you took.
Yeah.
Made your profile, and to be honest, I think it took your profile from a 20 because I've been following you since you're like 20, 30,000 followers. I feel like I was part of the beginning. We got something special.
OG fan. Does he get free merch?
If we really want to
He gets free ads?
in the beginning here, though. Right, like this is the beginning.
That is not humble.
You see this?
Not humble.
But what I'm saying is that you took something so and so amazing from just being like push-up and crunch videos, right?
Right.
Where I was
literally.
like, am I still following this guy? Why am I following this guy?
Exactly.
Right? Then all of a sudden I see
The word of all my friends.
Yeah. All of a sudden I see Spider-Man pop up.
Yeah.
Right? I see him flying in a helicopter, and I was like, whoa, what's going on with this guy? Like, what is he doing? It made me just think of you in this whole different realm.
It was just like 20% of like what I enjoyed doing, and like I just knew that I was like a means to an end. Like I was just like, oh, let me just make some money, just some fitness, like, and then through that process, as things started to mature and expand, then I was like, that's when I really found, like you said, that's when I really found my passion and started like really like falling in love with like portraying the superheroes and then like acting and character, doing that kind of stuff.
So let me get this straight. Right, you guys are saying basically the same way that people shouldn't be doing a job for the money. People should be doing the job because they're passionate. Right?
Yeah.
And so what you're saying with content.
I was actually gonna say, like, for instance, a lot of people will reach out like, oh, how did you start? I'm like, it honestly goes back to like a decade ago, where I've always believed in the law of attraction. That's a whole different story, but I've always loved documenting and connecting with people and developing relationships, and that's just translated to like, I wasn't like, oh, I want to become a content creator when I grow up. Like, just everything, all my interests aligned to this world of content creation.
Well, this was good, guys. Thank you so much for joining me and joining us. And I took a lot of valuable things away from it, but I guess content to me, when you guys said what's the best time to start content, to me it's the same thing I tell people, when's the best time to invest? Well, when's the best time to grow a tree? You gotta plant the seed yesterday. Yeah. Because it just keeps growing and growing and growing and growing and growing from there. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks for the cheese.
You're welcome.